Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. You know, I was thinking just the other day about some stuff that some of my clients had talked about, and I was really thinking about it. I was taking it in, and you know, when things hit you personally, when it hits you personally, you begin to realize how important it is to discuss certain matters. You know, I thought today, you know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about on today's show is, you know, how do we reach for more in our life? Like, we want more in our life. We want to create more. We want to have more wealth. We want to have more success. But how do we reach for more and still stay grateful for what we already have? You know, I wonder that because it's like a lot of times when you're thinking about it, you're saying, well, everybody's talking about being grateful. We got to be grateful for this or grateful for that. Or we got to look at the things that we have, which is so important. But then it's like, how do we continue to excel and to push ourselves forward and still consider to look at what we have? You know, we try to strive for better, and we try to gain more knowledge. You know, when we're striving for better and we're trying to gain more knowledge, we're trying to gain that knowledge, we're trying to be more wise. We're trying to accumulate more wealth and abundance at the same time. But how do we continue to be real with what we have? And that's something that I really want to peruse today on Live Your True Life Perspectives, because we talk about the real stuff, the real hard-hitting subjects, the subjects that matter in our life. Because you know what? How many times have you awakened in the middle of the night and you catch yourself comparing yourself to your friends, right? Your neighbors, the people you know. And they're talking about all these things going on in their life and their career. And, oh, somebody got a raise. Somebody got a new car. All these things happening. And it can be overwhelming. Because it's like, what about me? You know, what about my life? And you sit up at night thinking about, well, I got to pay the bills, or I got to take care of this, or how am I going to afford that? And you begin to compare yourself to the other people in your life, and you start feeling pretty bad. And I've been there before. I've been there at dinner parties where you're listening to everybody talk about all their stuff, and you're sitting there going, well, man, I really come short. I really fall short of that. And how do I overcome that? But also, how do I look at my life and not just keep looking ahead of myself and actually enjoying my life? How do I actually look at the things that I have, family, friends, you know, for some of us, children, what have you? How do I look at that and say, wow, I'm so thankful for that, and actually feel good about that? Well, I'm going to be talking about that on today's show. Also, I wanted to start by saying we want to appreciate Art for Your Cause, Liz London, CEO. Thank you for your continued support of Live Your True Life Perspectives. Reggie Harvey, author of Anatomy of Patient and survivor of a near-death illness, will be on the show in just a little bit to give his perspective on how to work to achieve more, but to also be grateful. I appreciate Body Lounge Park Cities as well for their continued support of the show. And Rnold Smith, creator of the Connection app. The Connection app is to help people, to help married people, but also people that are together in relationships, to have a better relationship, to be able to have a better, more healthy relationship and continue the longevity of that relationship. And he will be joining us by phone in just a little bit. And so let's think about this process of creating more abundance and wealth. Right? We lose sight of what we already possess. And we lose sight of the beauty of our day-to-day life. And that's something that I think is very important for us to think about today. So I bet you're driving in the car and you're thinking, gosh, you know what? Ashley's really saying some truth right here, because I'm really happy about these things. I'm really fortunate to have this. Maybe I'm really fortunate to have my health, or I'm really fortunate to have this job, or I'm really fortunate to have this amazing family. But there's certain things that are coming up short. Okay, and the thing is that this universe was created on a comparison level, on all levels. What do you think that social media is? Do you think that's just like everybody connecting and talking? Social media is a system developed to compare yourself to other people. Whether you're comparing yourself to other people with kids and you're saying, man, their kids are smarter than my kids. Or you're comparing yourself to people that have a career that's similar, but you're comparing yourself from the regional manager and you're comparing yourself to the CFO. Okay, all these different levels of comparison are really getting in the way of our day-to-day life. And that's one of the things that I think is so crucial, is we don't realize the impact of that comparison. We compare ourselves to other people, and so you have that slippery slope effect that really takes control. And what does it do to us? Well, you know what? It creates stress in my life. I'm sure that it creates stress in your life. I mean, stress, you start thinking about what other people have. You start having that anxiety. You start feeling that fear factor. And I don't know about you, but I do not like the fear factor whatsoever. I don't like feeling fearful of how the next day will be or what the next day will bring. I like to have that feeling of well-being, right? But how do we create that in a world that's based on comparison? How do we create that and go back to being grateful while we hear other people talking about their level of success, and I'm using air quotes, right? How do we do that? But also at the same time being appreciative of the situations at home, the appreciation of the situation with the family, or whatever that dynamic is. And that's what I think is so golden and so important. It's the nugget of our life, but it's hard. And it's one of the hardest things to ever do. That's why it's so hard. That's why all these books on gratefulness, it's a great idea, but half of them don't work. Because it's hard to really focus on being grateful over here and striving for more. Where does the connection come? And I think that the fear of worrying of the future, right? The fear of that worrying of the future and wondering what's going to happen next, I think is something that's so paramount to what we want to discuss today. And I think that one of the biggest things is that we have to first think, first of all, what is it that I have in my life that's actually great? What is it that I have in my life that I'm actually grateful for? I mean, really think about it. You know, whether you're driving or you're listening at your house to the show, what are those things? And look around you. Look around you right now. What are those things that you're grateful for? Do you have an amazing daughter or amazing husband, amazing wife, an amazing dog, a cat that you love? What are those things that you are grateful for? You know, do you have your health? That's something that a lot of people don't have. And that's something that a lot of us overlook, right? Because we overlook that concept of health. It's like the idea of time. You know, people ask me, well, hey, I just need to do this, or I just need your help with doing that. And that's awesome, and I want to help people. But the thing is that my time, unfortunately, to some degree, on this planet is limited. So that means that our health, our well-being, and our time are the most important assets that we have. And so with that in mind, right, we know that. You know, we have to think about being grateful for those things, but how do we keep to strive to do more? And I think one of the things about the health component that's so interesting is that we don't find how important the health is until we don't have it. Until there's some issues. Until we're having to get some tests done at the hospital. Until one of the tests comes back and it's irregular, it's not right, there's something wrong. What happens? That's when we begin to fret. That's when we begin to think, oh my God, I can't believe I've been taking this for granted the whole time. And it's a big deal. And I've talked about it throughout the shows, throughout the 8 solid years of Live Your True Life Perspectives, talking about my background as well, because I can't sit there and talk about this stuff unless you know a little bit about who I am and what I'm doing. And when I was born with a condition that nobody understood, right? I was misdiagnosed multiple times. I was almost killed on the operating table 3 times, and I had experimental surgeries done on me. So every day was a different day, and I was happy to live that day. And so the reason why I can do what I do now is because I was on the other side of the health card for a long time. And so when you're on the other side of that health card, the way that you see a day is very different than the way someone sees a day that's never been on the other side. The idea that you wake up is a big deal. The idea that you can eat is a big deal. The idea that you see people and you can get to know them and you can love them is a big deal. The idea that you can actually show up to work or go to school is a big deal. And so a lot of times when I look back at those situations when I was younger, I used to say, wow, what a horrible hand to be dealt. And there were times that I went through some grave depression when I was in my late teens. I think many of us do. But those are the things that we got to think about. And that's why later on in the hour, Reggie Harvey will be talking about his perspective on staying grateful, but also striving for more because he comes from that perspective. You see what I'm saying? You know, he's waiting on a transplant. Get that. And so your life is in a different position right? And so that's what the show is about, is looking at every different angle, every different perspective of the different position that we're in life. Very powerful stuff. And so, when we're thinking about these things, a lot of you out there might be saying, well, you know what, Ashley, I'm really lucky because I have my health, but, I have these financial worries that really just get to me, whether I'm just at work or whether I'm trying to sleep or whether I'm waking up in the morning or I'm in a panic. These financial worries, the question of material wealth, the question of having material comforts it just really takes me off target, stresses me out. And I understand that because it was interesting. I was on a flight last night and I was coming back. And, coming back in town, and they had some shows on the TV. They show the shows during the flight. And there was a flight on, I guess, CNBC or something like that, and it was about the top wealthiest people in the world. And you see these mansions, and, $50, $100 million mansions, and it's so hard to put things in perspective when, on a constant basis, we are shown this type of wealth on TV, everything. And so we're inundated with these situations, and we compare our lives. I mean, I was talking about some of the finances as far for the Cowboys players. They were talking about Dak Prescott and how much money he's asking for, right? And some of you might not be, that type of fan, but, Dallas Cowboys are known around the world. And it's an interesting concept. $35 million, $40 million a year. And I know some of you sit there and say, I've been working for 20 years. I'm a school teacher. I help people. I help these kids. I really help them to get their lives on target. But yet I would love to be able to pay for a cruise, but I can't afford it. And so then we begin to devalue our own life based on the fact that we're not getting the kind of money that Dak Prescott's getting or wants to get, right? And so where does it go when we're thinking about being grateful, but we're also thinking about changing our situation? And so that's what we're really going to be talking about for the rest of the hour, because there's got to be a happy medium, and people talk about it all the time, but they don't really tell you how to do it, right? They tell you, just be grateful for what you have, right? But that's a lot easier said than done. That's so much easier said than done. Just do this. Just eat your vegetables and shut up. That's the concept. But you know what? It's really challenging to figure out how to actually do that. So later on in the hour, we're going to actually go through how to walk step by step, being able to strive for more and still consider to be grateful throughout the process, and how that's also going to calm your nerves a little bit. I'm also going to instruct you on some things that you want to do as far as changing your media input. Listening to a show like this is positive. Listening to shows that give you knowledge, information, because remember, knowledge is power. That's where we want to really focus our lives on, right? That's the direction we want to go. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to really focus on how to end that cycle, how to create abundance, and how to focus on abundance, but how to end the comparison cycle. We're going to talk about that later on here in the hour. So that's going to be great. In the next segment, Reggie Harvey is going to be talking about his perspective on being grateful and reaching for more and how to make that a reality. Later on, calling in Rnold Smith, creator of the Connection app as well. So we have a great show for you today, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, because Live Your True Life Perspectives with me, your host, Ashley Burgess. Well, you know what? We're going to be back this time. Yep, we're going to be back this time in 2 shakes.
You're 85 or younger. Would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-574-3549. That's 800-574-3549. Again, 800-574-3549.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 immediately. That's 800-605-6995. Page Publishing is looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review each and every book submitted to them and give you their feedback. If they like what they read, they'll get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. They handle everything: editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So if you've written a novel, children's book, cookbook, inspirational work, poetry, or a biography and want to get it published, then you need to call Page Publishing and do it immediately. Call 800-605-6995 now for your free author submission kit. Again, for your free author submission kit, call 800-605-6995. That's 800-605-6995. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call. Call Page Publishing at 800-605-6995 for your free author submission kit.
Hi, this is Jim Blythe, your Alliance for the Brave host, who also works for Homebridge Financial Services, a mortgage company that is one of the top 10 lenders in the nation. We're offering to our listeners a special promotion, $500 off your closing costs if you use the promotion code A and the number 4B. That's A, the number 4B. Just call our 800 number. 833-4MY-VA-LOAN. That's 833, the number 4MY-VA-LOAN, or visit our website, homebridge.com. My NMLS number is 311548, and our Homebridge Company NMLS is 6521. Our address is 194 Wood Avenue South, 9th floor in Island, New Jersey, 08830. We are an equal opportunity lender, and we love veterans and want to help you with your VA home loans or your other home loan needs. Homebridge is a full-service lender. You can also go to our website on allianceforthebrave.com. We're talking with David Cohen of VFW here in Dallas. David, this wonderful event, August 17th.
Saturday. We're going to have this big blue crab and shrimp boil at 11 o'clock in the morning. The music's going to start flowing. It's a day to come out and support veterans.
The Post, 6796, 9179 Garland Road on the 17th from 11 o'clock.
So we run out of food and music. And these blue crabs are beautiful. And Gulf shrimp are not something you can buy at Walmart. Our commander who's doing the seasoning, his cocktail sauce is the best I've ever had in 52 years.
So if you're a veteran or you're a patriot, and you want to hang out with some really great people, then plug in. If you want to know more, call David, 214-771-1016, 214-771-1016. It's on the VFW website, 6796.
On Facebook.
August 17th.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. On today's show, we're talking about being grateful for what you have, but still reaching for more. Joining me in studio, Reggie Harvey. Reggie Harvey is the author of Anatomy of a Patient. He's also the survivor of a near-death illness, and he's here to talk about his perspective on being grateful and striving. Great to have you in studio.
Hey, Ashley, it's good to be here. I see you got a little color from the sun.
I do. See? You like my tan?
I do.
It looks good. I look good.
I think the topic that you brought up is so important. There were a lot of situations where, as I transitioned from undergraduate school to my career, I struggled like a lot of people do as to answering the question, where do I fit in? Who should I model my life after? What I've learned today is that you don't model your life after anybody's. You live your own life. And that's a very simple thing to say, but it's a very difficult concept to capture. But the pain of it is that if you are so busy vicariously trying to live somebody else's life, then you are denying yourself your own power to make choices. You mentioned the ability to choose other lifestyles or choose other options in your life. Well, you give that up when you're caught in an emotional riptide about somebody else's circumstance and deny your own. You also sabotage yourself in a second way, because the resources that are right around you, the people that want to help you, the tools that you could leverage to change your life or improve your life or make a mark in the world, you don't see them because you're so distracted about why somebody else was doing something. I remember in my second job, when I started to work for the defense industry, there was a young man, we were the same age, let's say 26, 27 years old. And my boss came to me one day and he challenged me. He said, I know we're not paying you that much money. How is it that you were able to buy a new Jaguar? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, it turned out this other young man who worked in a totally different department had purchased a new Jaguar, and it was parked in the parking lot out front. Now, it wasn't a situation that I got trapped into, but my boss drugged me into it. Mm-hmm. So I finally, I was forced to get the details. So I found the young man, and I said, hey, you got a beautiful car. I love that car. Why did you buy it? Now, this is a question that I never would have wanted to ask. And he told me, very simply, as a little boy, he had always loved Jaguars, and his grandmother knew that. Well, his grandmother had recently died, and she had saved her money and bequeathed a sum of money for him to actually buy that car. And she said in her will that that's what she wanted him to do. That was going to be her gift to help kickstart him in his life. Well, it was a beautiful story, but I didn't have a grandmother that had left me a lot of money. And so it would be stupid for me to try to be this young man and live his dream. So I had to go back to my boss and say, well, it's very simple. His grandmother left him the money to buy the car. Anything else you want to know? But that was a trap that I was getting drawn into, and I had to learn how to resist that. The third thing about the fear that you mentioned associated with these decisions and the denial of your own worth is that you don't give yourself an opportunity to make fresh choices. When I was diagnosed with renal failure, I had to learn quickly that my power was in the choices I made and seeking information and wanting to get healthier rather than just survive. So this is something I want to talk about as we move forward.
That's awesome, Reggie. When we return, we'll be talking more about that, how to be grateful, and how to see what you have. Live your true life perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back.
Are you drowning in debt? Are you struggling to make minimum payments? Did you know that on average, a household with at least one credit card struggles with over $15,000 in credit card debt? If this sounds like you, know that it's not your fault. Credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates and low minimum payments. Before you know it, you're in over your head. National Debt Relief has helped thousands of good people just like you become debt-free with our Debt Reset program that will dramatically reduce your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Our Debt Reset program is customized to get you debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months with one low monthly payment. If you owe over $10,000 in credit card debt or even personal loans, call 800-274-9490. There are no upfront fees or out-of-pocket expenses. You don't pay a dime until we succeed. Call now to see how the Debt Reset program can work for you. 800-274-9490. That's 800-274-9490. 800-274-9490.
Living in Texas in the winter ain't so bad, unless you're a car, minivan, pickup, or SUV. Sometimes the battery decides to give up about this time of year, or whenever you need it most. You never know. And when your vehicle does start, some poor fool runs into it, or it hails and makes the sheet metal on your nice rig look like a miniature moonscape, or it gets vandalized, or something's going to happen to our vehicle, and we all know it. Lucky for us, there's Dallas Paint and Body. Dallas Paint and Body knows how to handle your insurance claim the right way. They have a 24-hour record service, on call 7 days and nights a week. Dallas Paint and Body is bonded and insured, and your vehicle is stored securely the whole time they have it. And they'll even arrange for a courtesy car while you're waiting for repairs. And when it comes to body Bodywork? Ooh-wee, top-notch. Interiors, too, with special price breaks for veterans and seniors. They support the Dallas Fire Department Association at Dallas Paint and Body. And when you need them, call 214-948-0071. That's 214-948-0071. Dallas Paint and Body.
Hello, golfers. Pat Wheeler with Texas Links on the Air. For years, we have wanted a big and beautiful course under the giant pines of East Texas. Well, now we have it. The Tempest Golf Club just gets better and better. Book your round today at the Tempest Golf Club just outside of Longview off I-20 by going to TempestGolfClub.com. That's TempestGolfClub.com. And I'll see you soon at the Tempest Golf Club.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives. Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Live Your True Life Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Burgess. Hey, on today's show, we're talking about gratitude. We hear a lot of people saying, we should be we should have gratitude. We should be grateful for the things we have. But how do we become grateful for what we have, but still strive for more? Okay, see, that's the paradox here. And nobody really gives you a handbook, and says, hey, guys, okay, so this is the deal. So you're going to see all these people around you that seem or tend to have more financial stability than you have. You're going to see people around you that have more toys than you have, more race cars, more stuff like that. You're going to see people around you that have bigger houses, more children, more stable marriage, all this stuff, and you're going to compare yourself on a daily basis. But you're still going to stay grateful, and you're still going to strive for more. Okay, that's the issue. That's the issue. And like I was talking about earlier, looking at social media. I love social media because it helps get the good word out. But what else does social media do? Okay, it helps you connect with family. But what else does social media do? It has you comparing your lives to other people because it's part of it. It's part of the algorithm. You see somebody driving a new car. You see somebody getting, a new title at work. And you've been working really hard. And I'm not saying that you're over there coveting your neighbor, your friend, but what I'm saying is you see it and you start beating yourself down. God, why can't I have that? And right before the break, Reggie Harvey was talking about his perspective, and he's going to come back on in just a few minutes and talk a little bit more about his health situation and how that really changed his life. Because remember, when we have our health and wellness, that's awesome. That's awesome, but we don't normally cherish that, or we don't normally have gratitude for that until something goes wrong. Right? We don't really think about the family dynamic and how grateful we are to have our wife or our husband until one of them wants a divorce. Right? And then you go, oh, God, I can't believe this. Came out of the middle of nowhere. Oh, my gosh, my life was so great, and now they want a divorce. This is the biggest bag over the head. Right? We don't think about how great it is to have a child and how great that child is until there's an issue. Okay, and so that's the thing, is that there's all these books out there about gratitude. There's all these books about gratitude, but nobody's telling you how to be grateful of your life and still strive for more. See, that's the part. That's the part. And so the thing is that our whole world is shaped around the concept of comparison, and we compare ourselves to people that we know. We compare ourselves to folks on social media. We compare ourselves to people on TV, actors, actresses. We compare ourselves when we're listening to friends and family talk about their wealth. Okay? So how do we end the comparison hamster wheel? How do we end it? How do we end the comparison hamster wheel? What do we do? Okay? Well, the first thing that we want to do is we have to recognize that we're on the wheel to begin with. We have to recognize that we're actually doing this, because if we don't recognize it and we don't think about it and we don't know that we're doing it, how can we be aware of the situation at hand? It's like the concept of saying, do I have a problem? Do I need help? Do I need something? Do I need to go seek a therapist? If I'm not going to look at the situation at hand and say that I might be dealing with a problem, I can't begin to change it. I can't begin to see it. So we have to begin to recognize what's happening. And we have to realize we're on that comparison hamster wheel, right? We have to realize that. And that's key. And that's key to the whole situation. That's the first thing, is being aware. And we have to recognize that. Being aware and mindful is key. And how do we become mindful? That means that we actually start paying attention to what we're doing on a daily basis. We're not just walking through it, walking through the motions. I mean, how many times has your husband, your wife, your friend said something to you, and you have no idea what they said, and you went, yeah, okay, whatever. That sounds great. You have no idea what they could have said anything to you, but you still went along with it. We're not paying attention. We're not even paying attention to how we feel on our day-to-day basis. We're comparing ourselves. We're making ourselves feel bad. We're looking in the mirror. We're feeling bad about what we have created. We're not giving ourselves enough credit. And then we turn around and then we just beat ourselves down more. That's not going to help us on any level of the situation. Calling us right now on the phone, Rnold Smith. Rnold Smith is an amazing person because he's created this awesome app called the Connection app. And the Connection app is the app that's created to bring couples and people together to be mindful, to create romance, to create communication. Because one of the things that we're not mindful of is when we're in a relationship, you've been married for 10 years, you've been married 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and we start taking the marriage for granted. And we're not working on the marriage. We're not working on creating a better relationship. What are we doing? Instead, we're just walking through the motions. Rnold, great to have you on the radio. How are you doing?
Fantastic, Ashley. Nice to talk to you.
It's great to hear your voice. Great to hear your voice. You know, it's interesting when we first started talking about the Connection app and that development, I know that the idea of relationships is so important to you because I know that you lost your family. You lost your parents at a very young age. And that's why relationships are so important to you, because you didn't have that chance. You know, I think that's very interesting as we talk about comparison and we talk about being grateful for what we have.
Absolutely. You know, I think that when I look at what happened, obviously it was really hard, but it did give me that gift of knowing that, you know, what you love the most can be taken away from you. And to live your life like what you have right now could be lost. And it's the reality. I mean, we never know when we might get that 10-second phone call where, you know, something awful has happened. Just either something you care about, and you know, life can change in an instant. But as you were saying on your show, you know, we're not present to that. We're just going along, always wanting more and always wanting more. But it doesn't necessarily help you to actually achieve more. It just makes you feel bad.
That's so true.
What's the point of that?
That's so true. And you get on that comparison hamster wheel, and then how do you stop it? And I think a lot of people are living on autopilot on that wheel right now.
Oh, no question. And, you know, when I always look at it from a habit perspective. Obviously, we developed the Connection app for couples to really help people be present to what they have. And one of the connection habits that you practice in the app is gratitude. And when you do that as a couple, then you really get to see, I mean, you fell in love with this person, and you married them, or you got together with them, and they had all these wonderful qualities that you admired. And then you're with them for a while, and you start to see the flip side of those qualities, and you don't necessarily remember to notice the parts of the person that you just were crazy about. And that's what we talk about. That's what we mean when we talk about gratitude, really noticing how this person is and you know, who they are as a person that you fell in love with. And, you know, remembering that and expressing that on a daily basis has a wonderful impact on your relationship.
That's so amazing. You know, and Rnold, you know, one of the things, too, I find that's interesting when we think about relationships is a lot of times we don't find what we're grateful for that person until we don't have that option. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a tendency of going out with other couples, and it seems like so-and-so has such a great personality, or so-and-so so vivacious or whatever, and we have a tendency of looking back at our relationship and saying, you know, where did the excitement go? Where did this go? I wish we had a relationship like John and Jenny had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the practices that my wife and I really try and do is that whenever one of us notices we're in this loop, and it's not just a relationship, it's life, you know, like life, something's happening, it's busy, it's stressed, you know, I mean, everybody's got big demands on their time. But when you notice you're in that place and you notice, like, physically you're closing down and there's this rift between you, we try and use that feeling as the trigger to say something we're grateful for. And, you know, you don't want to do it. You just want to sit there and kind of be, you know, miserable. But when you do, at first it's kind of reluctant. But then, you know, if, you know, as a practice, my wife and I, then I'll say something, and then she'll say something, and pretty soon we'll say 3 or 4 things. And it's amazing how the fog lifts. And all of a sudden we actually feel good again about, you know, what we have. And if there's something, you know, like that we want to create, like you talked about excitement, well, now you're coming from a place of bondedness and feeling good together. You can go and create that. You can talk about, you know, how do we get more excitement? But you're not coming from a place of there's something wrong or with us. You're just coming to a place like, hey, we could look at what we're missing. We could do that. We could totally go on adventures together or create more excitement. You know, how do we do that? But now you're together because you got a chance to get back and feeling connected again.
So, Arnold, you know, what are one of the things that, you know, you could do right now to get more connected in your relationship right now?
Well, you know, gratitude's huge. Another one is actually sharing something that's successful about your day. Another one of the connection habits is sharing success and celebrating. And it's something that we, as a society, we don't do it. It's rarely a habit. We're always talking about the complaining about what happened, what's wrong. And, you know, that's a natural response. I mean, the way our brains work is we're looking in the environment for what's not right because that's what keeps us safe. It actually takes more effort to find something positive. But when you have that as a habit as a couple, when you're in a place where you're not feeling connected, and you just say, what was successful about your morning? And it forces you to shift from that negative pattern of thought to actually find something positive, and it literally changes your physiology. And then as a couple, when you do that as a practice, you really can feel more connected. So that's another one that we love.
Well, thank you, Rnold Smith, so much. I appreciate your one lasting thought, though, for anybody out there that's saying, you know, hey, I've been married, I'm kind of in the marriage roommate situation, you know what I'm saying? Is there one other thing that folks can do tonight, you know, Saturday night? Is there something that they can do to just kind of start the communication a little bit with their spouse?
Well, you know, I mean, just touching each other. I mean, if you're in a relationship, sometimes, I mean, for my wife and I, talking can be a trigger for some, you know, for a negative conversation. But just like literally give each other a hug, and if you do it for at least 30 seconds. It takes 30 seconds for your body to relax, for you to feel that to get that oxytocin release. So for 30 seconds, give each other a hug. Don't say anything. Just try and be with the other person. Try and communicate love through touch for at least 30 seconds, and you'd be surprised at how often that just melts the ice and gives you a chance to be together.
Amazing perspective. I look forward to having you back on the show next week. And for anybody that's interested in the Connection app, just go to ashleyburgess.com, click on the radio show page. You'll see the connections as well as the banner on ashleyburgess.com. Click on the Connection app, and you can actually find the app right there. You can download it, and you can start using this in your relationship right now. I hope you have a great rest of your day, Arnold.
Thanks, Ashley. And you too.
Okay, look forward to hearing from you next week.
All right, bye, man.
You know, I was thinking about the concept of gratitude within the relationships, and I think that's so powerful. I think that's some powerful stuff that we can live by. You know, one thing that I want to talk about before we go into the break, though, you know, when I was talking about taking that inventory of your life, I think that Reggie has, you know, one concept that we do need to talk about before the end of the segment is that, you know, he was talking going into his health care and that sort of thing and the change that he was aware of. What was that you were talking about, Reggie?
Well, when I was given the diagnosis that I had renal failure, stage 4 renal failure, and that I could have died in my sleep, then I had to figure out really quickly how I wanted to manage this situation. It wasn't part of my life plan at all. I was also in the hands of strangers who were supposed to be providing me medical assistance and guidance. But I realized I couldn't just rely on their standard of care. And we talked about fear keeping you from empowering your choices. Well, one of the power concepts that I had to take advantage of was realizing these people didn't know who I was and why my life was valuable. I needed to find a way to communicate that to them. So the head nephrologist, I got his contact information, And at 3 a.m. in the morning, I sent him my professional resume, and a little short note saying, this is who I am, and I need you to know this because it's important. I'm not through living. From that point on, when we had our next face-to-face conversation, I was able to let him know I didn't just want to survive. I just didn't want him to keep me alive. I wanted to make a choice about how to improve my health. I didn't know if that was even possible, but I was able to open the conversation and say, this is what I want. Can you help me do this? And to my surprise, he was right on board immediately. And he was willing to explain to me all the risks, all the options, how he was going to go about figuring out my particular peculiarities in my case. And we built a plan that has actually advanced my health. I'm healthier now than I was before I got sick, but all because I made that one choice. I don't want to just survive. I need you to help me figure out how I can get better. Can I get better?
Powerful stuff, Reggie. And so that's the thing. That's the perspective of what we need to do to be healthy, to be happy, but also to be grateful of the things that we have. When we return, we're going to be talking about how to do that, how to jump off the comparison hamster wheel, how to stop comparing ourselves, how to be aware of that situation, and how to begin to see our abundance and how to end this toxic cycle, because that's what it is. It's a cycle because we've been bred to believe this. We watch TV, we watch these things that make us believe that this is what we should be doing, when in reality, that's not the case. So stay tuned. We'll return to be talking more about that, how to make that happen, things that you can implement right now in your day-to-day life that'll encourage this, as well as how to stay grateful and still reach for the stars. Live your true life perspectives with me, your host, Ashley Burgess. We'll be back this time. Well, you know it. We'll be back this time in 2 shakes.
Am I over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-985-1813 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The #1 Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-985-1813 now. Again, that's 800-985-1813. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
When I wasn't taking it and I was waiting for my operation, I was feeling very tired. Now I'm driving like 11, 12 hours a day. I told you I manage 15 gas stations. And I have so much energy. I even gave some of my pills for my son, and he said, Dad, this is good, so I like it. I'm healing so fast. It's like amazing. My family is so surprised because my wound closing up and doing so good. So that is working now that I'm start taking my those fruits and vegetables.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
Look like you did 10 years ago. Get Casey Facelift Treatments, and you will turn back the hands of time. I'm Kathy of JP Kathy and the Crew. I hate needles. The good news is, with Casey Treatments, there are no needles, no downtime. It is 100% natural, non-surgical, painless, and you get long-lasting results. There are no side effects. It is your most healthy choice for a younger look. Excellent therapy for Bell's palsy, correct symmetry for the face, and highly trained, experienced therapists therapist will meet your concerns and needs. This facelift treatment is done with a technology called Casey. It works by lifting and toning your facial muscles. This gives you a natural and instant effect. This is the perfect treatment for your wedding. Mention JP, Kathy, and the crew for a $59 Casey treatment plus a free LED or microdermabrasion treatment as well. Faceliftofthestars.com, 972-704-9562. Schedule your appointment today.
We're talking with David Cohen of VFW here in Dallas. David, this wonderful event, August 17th.
Saturday. We're going to have this big blue crab and shrimp boil at 11 o'clock in the morning. The music's going to start flowing. It's a day to come out and support veterans.
The Post, 6796, 9179 Garland Road on the 17th from 11 o'clock.
Okay. I know that I've been on that wheel for so long, I didn't even know it was a wheel. I just thought it was the way life is, right? I got on my wheel and I just ran, and then I was like, gosh, I'm not getting anywhere. Okay, so I said that I was going to give some knowledge because knowledge is power. Because it's all about making the changes we have to make, right? It's not about continuing to do the same thing, expecting the same results, and just, going through this process of chaos. It's about actually making the changes we need. And the first thing that I want you to do is to begin to take inventory of your life. I want you to look at your life and take an inventory. What is it in my life that I'm happy for? What is it in my life that's really bringing me happiness? What's bringing me joy? What am I doing to create in the world to bring joy and happiness? Okay, that's the first thing. And you know what? I advise you to go out and buy yourself a notebook, because I'm going to tell you something. When we try to remember these things, have you ever gone to the grocery store and you had a list of stuff and you had it all in your head and you wouldn't write it down? And so when you get home, you have mixed match stuff, right? It's because you didn't write it down. You got to get these thoughts out of your head. Once you get them out of your head, you can actually see them on paper. When you see them on paper, you can actually acknowledge the truth of what you're dealing with. So write it down. If you're happy about your marriage, if you're happy about your hamster, if you're happy about where you live, if you're happy about your job, write down those things. If you're happy about your garden, if you're happy, whatever it is that you're happy about and that brings you joy, I want you to write that down. The next thing is that I want you to begin to be super mindful of when you're in and out of social media, when you're in and out of communication with other people. How often are you comparing your lives to their lives? I need you to get real in the Whole Foods parking lot on this thing, because it's a big deal. Okay, once we get real and understand that we are comparing ourselves on a constant basis, we can make changes in our lives, and these changes can be awesome and permanent. But I need you to be super mindful, meaning the next time you're out having dinner and you're with that couple that talks all the time about their money, their finances, whatever it is, I need you to get super mindful of, hey, wait a second. One, is there something that maybe you can say and, to maybe divert that, or is there some time that you need to maybe step back from these people? Or also, are you taking what they're saying so personally that you're directly reflecting on your life and judging yourself directly? We have a tendency of negatively judging ourselves. Are you comparing yourself? Be aware, and also be super aware of the people that you have a tendency of comparing yourselves more with, because, you got to think about it. How much time do you really want to spend around them? Because obviously there's something being said and done that's encouraging you to compare that way. And also you need to take a step back and say, is it within me as well that I'm comparing myself to them too? But sometimes it could be the talk and the conversation, whether it's about money, whatever it is, that could be causing you to become discouraged in your life. And I want you to limit the amount of being discouraged completely. Okay. And I want one last thing that I want you to think about. One thing that I've realized is nobody has it perfect on this planet. I figured that out. I know. It took a lot of perspective to figure that out, but I've realized that everybody has at least something missing. So when we go and we begin to judge ourselves based on other people's lives, we don't know the full story. Okay? So if we see the mansion and we see all this, we have no idea what the health is like. We have no idea what's going on. We're making judgment calls based on something we see, but not necessarily something that is. And I want you to realize that. And I also want you to realize that other people are judging themselves against your life. Okay, so you might feel like you don't have what you want or you need, but other people are looking at you and seeing that you have all these things that they want. So I want you to be taking that inventory of what you're grateful for. I want you to be super mindful of the next time you judge yourself and compare yourself to other people and compare your lives to other people and lose your gratitude for what you have. And last but not least, I want you to realize that everybody has a missing piece. Okay, we'll be back next week, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'll be talking about a lot of, obviously, social issues. We'll be talking a little bit about psychology because that's part of the show. But coming up later today, don't miss the Tonight Show of National Radio, the Ron Segui Show, celebrity interviews and listeners, family-friendly, Saturday nights from 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, only here on USA Radio Network. And don't let your computer drive you crazy. Check out Cyberline with Mick Williams. He's on tonight from 10 to midnight Eastern Time, only on the USA Radio Network. And start your work week every morning with Daybreak USA with Rod and Ray, 6 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, only on USA Radio Network, as well as news, analysis, commentary, and debate. Don't miss the Wells Report with John David Wells, Monday afternoon from 3 to 6 Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time, only on USA Radio Network, as well as don't miss Wayne Allen Root and others. So stay tuned. We have another show coming up for you next week here, and Live Your True Life Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Burgess, will be back in. I'll be back this time in 3 shakes.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad.
I was so glad that I called A Place for Mom. My advisor really listened and was truly my
Maybe you want a MyPillow to take with you on vacation? You go to MyPillow.com, click on the new radio listener specials, use my promo code USA, and remember, you got nothing to lose. 60-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the new radio listener specials. You get deep discounts on all MyPillow products only if you use promo code USA. And by the way, you can call 1-800-951-8175 and get the same savings.